Welcome to the 2020 CHPA Educational Foundation Gala with your hosts, Anita Brickman and Mary Leonard. With special appearances by Linda Rushaw from Patient Point and Brand Like a Rockstar keynote speaker Steve Jones. And special thanks to the Like Minds Trio and certified sommelier and whiskey expert Theo Rutherford. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the 2020 CHPA Educational Foundation Gala. And now, here are your hosts, Anita and Mary.
Hello, and welcome to the 5th Annual CHPA Educational Foundation Gala, a virtual experience this year.
That's right. We are live here from the Whittemore House in DC, and we want to thank all of you for joining us from the comfort of your home or office. We hope everyone could participate in our red carpet reception earlier this evening. A special thank you to Like Minds Jazz Trio for the wonderful jazz music, and to Theo Rutherford for a fantastic wine tasting demonstration. Now we'll see Theo a little bit later tonight for a whiskey masterclass during our cocktails and conversations hour.
That's going to be a fun topic.
Yep.
While we can't be together in person, we are grateful we're able to bring the industry together virtually tonight. What an unprecedented roller coaster ride of a year it's been. And now with the election behind us, we have even more change ahead. Given all the uncertainty this year, it's wonderful to see such a commitment to the foundation with a fantastic turnout tonight, more than 260 attendees from more than 60 companies. As you can imagine, many people were involved in making this virtual gala a reality. First, thank you to our foundation's board of directors for empowering us to make the switch to a virtual event and providing encouragement and leadership all along the way. Everybody really rolled up their sleeves to help us shape this event, and we are so grateful for your time and talent throughout the year.
Now, second, we want to thank our sponsors for stepping up and supporting this virtual effort. We are so grateful for their contributions to help make tonight a success, especially with this brand new virtual format, and believing in us to deliver a fantastic program for you. Now you can see our diamond, platinum, gold, silver, and bronze supporters here listed on the screen. But in particular, one company stepped up in a huge way, going above and beyond with their donation amount to ensure this event's success, and that is the Emerson Group. So thank you to the Emerson Group for leading the way and always being such a strong champion of the foundation.
Well said, Mary. Now, as we look back on 2020, the self-care industry has never been more relevant and necessary. With COVID-19, our industry had to step up and mobilize quickly to help improve the lives of consumers who were impacted by and trying to weather the pandemic. I'd now like to welcome Jason Milligan from GSK Consumer Healthcare to introduce a video that highlights how our industry responded during COVID-19. Jason?
Thanks, Anita, and good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Milligan, and I have the pleasure of speaking on behalf of GSK Consumer Healthcare tonight. During these unprecedented times, never before has the value of the consumer healthcare industry been more apparent. CHPA and the Educational Foundation continue to stay anchored in its focus to educate consumers, customers, and regulatory bodies as they adapt to realize these new opportunities. This is so important because the role of consumer healthcare will continue to grow as we move ahead. This needs to be anchored in the pillars of knowledge, trust, and proper usage. This is exhibited in the exciting rebranding work underway at CHPA as they broaden their definition of self-care and focus areas, and it's supported with CHPA's expanded focus on dietary supplements and consumer diagnostics. I am so excited about the opportunities coming in 2021 with the Education Foundation. I'm going to encourage all member companies to learn more and lean in with the foundation on some fantastic initiatives like the Know Your OTCs platform. The team is pursuing different ways to bring these to consumers and shoppers via strategic partnerships with retailers. And as a marketer who is focused on educating consumers on my brands, I see tremendous value in the marketing efforts the Educational Foundation delivers. This doesn't just apply to our current businesses or our current ingredients, but also to the changing landscape around us with new ingredients coming to market and the opportunities that exist both with consumers, customers, and also with regulators in terms of guiding thinking. As we look to 2021, all of us have vested interests in creating partnerships that include CHPA, its CPG member companies, and incorporating retailers that will allow CHPA and its membership to deliver on its commitment of knowledge, trust, and compliance, along with platforms that support our respective business plans. Now, as we bring it back to the present time period, I'm also really impressed with how CHPA's member companies have responded to COVID-19 by keeping products accessible while putting the health and safety of Americans first. At GSK, we are supporting global efforts to tackle the virus. Since the outbreak, we have actively been exploring ways to help with our science and our expertise. We are focused on protecting the health and well-being of our people and managing our global supply chains to support patients and consumers who depend on our products. I know we are joined by the collective scale of the self-care industry, all working together to provide access to our products while putting an end to COVID-19. The CHPA team put together a remarkable video that showcases the many ways the industry has helped throughout the pandemic. Let's watch it.
We have an update on the spread of the deadly coronavirus. Now, a short time ago, the World Health Organization declared the outbreak an international public health emergency.
As the world faced the novel coronavirus and raced to combat the mounting infections, the consumer healthcare industry stepped up to embrace the challenge of providing and maintaining access to our products for families trying to get well and stay well while they sheltered at home.
We've got a bunch of essential employees coming in here every day to help us produce product. We wanted to give back to those other essential workers that are coming in every day to help us navigate through this crisis.
The industry kept critical manufacturing plants running 24/7 to meet record demand for personal healthcare products. And companies stepped up to donate OTC medicines, dietary supplements, and personal protective equipment, not to mention tens of millions of dollars in humanitarian aid, impacting lives around the globe and in their own communities. Manufacturers rapidly ramped up production of hand sanitizer, donating millions of units to first responders and hospitals facing critical shortages. And as those hospitals grappled with the overwhelming number of patients needing urgent care, companies supported healthcare workers on the front lines financially and emotionally, celebrating them as the heroes they are. Many dedicated professionals even joined those heroes in the battle against COVID-19. Dr. Ed Kuffner is one of many who left his day job at Johnson & Johnson Consumer Healthcare to help staff a hospital in New York City. As research continues to develop vaccines and treatments, and as the consumer healthcare industry continues to do its part to combat this virus, together, we're reminded to look to the future, continue caring for one another, and simply say thank you.
For all the doctors, nurses, and medical professionals working around the world to stop this global pandemic, we would like to say thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Merci beaucoup.
Köszönöm szépen.
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Dankeschön für eure Unterstützung.
Of course, it's impossible to capture everything that our member companies did in response to COVID-19. So I'd like to take a moment to reiterate what we heard in that video and say to all of you out there watching tonight, thank you. At the Foundation this year, we also had to be nimble and scrappy, pivoting our editorial calendar content to develop COVID-19 educational resources quickly and efficiently. We also doubled down on new creative and digital strategies to reach consumers through the right channels at the right time. I'm going to turn it over now to our Senior Digital Content and Campaign Manager, Kelsey Sailors, who's here to walk us through some of the highlights of the Foundation's work this year. Kelsey?
Thanks, Anita. The Foundation really stepped up this year as an unbranded, trusted source of information and reassurance for consumers on how to safely use, store, and dispose of consumer healthcare products, both through our overarching consumer-facing brand Know Your OTCs and our flagship educational campaigns. First, we amplified our education during COVID-19. Against the backdrop of a global pandemic with families social distancing and spending more time at home, We reached 1.6 million English and Spanish-speaking families on social media with safe storage messages through our Up and Away campaign, all thanks to the support of Johnson & Johnson. We also launched a helpful COVID-19 FAQ page on knowyouroTCs.org that answered common questions consumers have about the use of OTC products during the pandemic and guidance on how to stay safe. To promote the FAQ, we launched paid media campaigns that reached more than 400,000 consumers and featured an animated video highlighting OTC products consumers should have on hand during COVID-19, as well as a series of short Q&A videos featuring our medical advisor and pediatrician influencer, Dr. Katie Friedman. Second, we launched a new and improved interactive pain reliever assessment that has been a major driver of website traffic. The assessment helps consumers understand how their personal risk factors should impact which OTC pain reliever they take. Through our OTC pain reliever education campaign, we launched paid media to promote the assessment, resulting in a whopping 415% year-over-year increase in the number of people who completed taking it. Thanks in part to this improvement, content on knowyouroTCs.org has been viewed more than 2 million times so far this year. Third, we focused on getting our materials in the hands of community leaders and healthcare providers. Through our Know Your Dose campaign, we distributed more than 163,000 educational materials this year to healthcare professionals, schools, and communities across the country. That's a 57% increase in the total number of materials distributed when compared to last year. These are just a few of our most notable highlights this year. And this is why we thank all of our supporters, because every donation helps us achieve our goal of promoting happier, healthier lives through responsible self-care.
Impressive highlights. Thank you, Kelsey. Mary, as we know, these messages are critical to ensure consumers across the country use our industry's products the right way, which in turn keeps these products available over the counter so people have access to self-care and the treatment they deserve.
That's right, Anita. And another way we can expand our reach to consumers is through partnerships and collaborations with other organizations. Now that amplification simply cannot be done on our own. So tonight, it's our distinct honor to recognize a special partner this year with the Outstanding Community Partner of the Year award. Now this year, we're recognizing Patient Point for supporting the Foundation's flagship campaign, Know Your Dose, on acetaminophen safety. Let's watch an overview of the partnership this year.
At Patient Point, our mission is to make every doctor-patient engagement better. We do that by providing these incredible education and diagnostic tools to over 70,000 physicians nationwide. The goal is that if you can educate a patient, they feel empowered to ask their healthcare provider about the treatment that they need. In this fashion, we partnered with CHPA to promote their Know Your Dose campaign.
You know, at the Foundation, one of our strategies is to partner with other trusted sources. Now, Patient Point is a great example of a trusted source at the point of care. And this year, with our partnership, we were able to amplify our education on safely using acetaminophen through our Know Your Dose campaign.
Patient Point ran the CHPA Know Your Dose campaign in our waiting room digital screens network across 35,000 physicians and 550 hospitals nationwide, helping get that important message across.
You know, a lot of people may not realize that acetaminophen is found in more than 600 different over-the-counter and prescription medicines. That's why it's so important we provide this reminder to patients to always read and follow their medicine label. Now, this partnership with Patient Point is such a great success story because we were able to provide that reminder at the point of care when patients are talking with their healthcare providers.
We're very grateful for our partnership with CHPA and look forward to continuing to fulfill our joint mission of educating patients for many years to come.
You know, we are so grateful for the support and partnership from Patient Point this year, and we look forward to future collaborations on different medicine safety initiatives where together we can improve public health. It is my pleasure to give the Outstanding Community Partner of the Year award to Linda Rusha, who is Patient Point's Chief Client Officer. Linda, congratulations.
Wow, thank you. This is such an honor. We just absolutely love our partnership with CHPA. So thank you to the Educational Foundation for recognizing Patient Point as your Outstanding Community Partner of the Year. We appreciate the recognition and look forward to a very successful continued partnership.
Congratulations, Patient Point, and thank you, Linda, and your team for partnering with us this year. As we think about this year in the broader context of themes, we think about action, resiliency, purpose. In particular, with the self-care industry, many companies have had to rethink their marketing and branding efforts in 2020. Companies shifted to purpose-driven marketing focused on building trust and relationships with their customers. Our keynote speaker tonight is taking a unique approach to talking about branding and lessons we can learn and apply to our businesses, especially within the context of the current economic dynamics in our nation and around the world. I'd now like to welcome Elizabeth Karvinen from the Emerson Group to introduce our keynote speaker of the night.
Thanks so much for that introduction, Anita. Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Karvinen from the Emerson Group. We are so excited to be a part of this year's CHPA Educational Foundation Gala. Now, more than ever, we need to ensure that the important work the foundation does to educate consumers on the safe use, storage, and disposal of consumer healthcare products continues. I have the pleasure of introducing Steve Jones tonight as our keynote speaker. Steve taps into more than 30 years of music industry experience, telling backstage stories of legendary rock stars, today's biggest hitmakers, and one-hit wonders. Through stories, songs, and videos, Steve will share lessons like consistency, uniqueness, and overcoming obstacles that we can all think about and apply to the consumer healthcare industry. We're all excited to hear from him tonight, so please join me in welcoming Steve Jones.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be here with you today, albeit virtually. It would be great, and I'm sure everyone feels the same way, to be together, to be doing these things, one-on-one, face-to-face. But given the crazy times we're in, I think it's inspiring and refreshing that we haven't given up on the idea of professional development and of networking and of learning and growing. And I hope today, over the course of a half hour or so together, we can listen to some great music and do a little bit of exactly that. Now, I wrote a book called Brand Like a Rock Star, and the idea behind Brand Like a Rock Star is that everything you need to know about business, marketing, and branding can be learned from the songs and bands you love. I've been really lucky to have a career spanning over 30 years in music and media and a front row seat to watching the rise and oftentimes fall of incredible bands, and have observed that the things they have done strategically, on purpose, and sometimes even by accident, teach us tremendous lessons about business, marketing, and branding. But I wouldn't blame you if your first question was really, like rock stars, why rock stars? What can we possibly learn from a bunch of recovering drug addicts? Well, there's a few examples of what we can learn. How about this guy? This guy is a member of a tribe of people known as the Deadheads. And they, for years, have followed their favorite band from city to city and show to show. For the entire life cycle of the Grateful Dead, the Deadheads kept them alive. Hardly a more dedicated group of fans in music history. Surely there is something from that kind of dedication that we can learn about building a better business. Yeah, a business lesson from Deadheads. Or these guys, dressed up, ready for their tiki hut, tailgating in the parking lot of a Jimmy Buffett show. They're not Deadheads, they're Parrot Heads, but the same thing. In every city that Jimmy Buffett plays, the Parrot Heads make sure that that concert is sold right out. We can learn from that kind of passionate enthusiasm. And finally, this picture, this should give you pause for thought about what you can learn from rock stars. This is the stage after a concert. And as you can see, across the stage, women's underwear. That means that women either brought an extra pair with them or somehow removed the pair they were wearing because they were so inspired by Tom Jones. But Tom Jones is like 100 years old, and yet women are still inspired after all these years to throw their underwear on stage in his honor. Now, I don't mean to suggest that people should be throwing their underwear at your business, at your brand, but there is something we can learn from that kind of incredible devotion to a rock star. He has incredibly devoted fans. And that word fans is important because businesses have customers. Rock stars have fans. The difference is subtle but important. Customers are transactional. They're in it for themselves. They want the best price. They'll drive all across town to save a couple of cents a gallon on gas. But fans are in it because something satisfies their heart. Fans are the ones who will irrationally buy things they shouldn't, where they'll go on vacations to see their favorite band. They'll buy merchandise and support the band because they're a fan. A fan is in the heart, a customer is in the head. A fan is illogical, irrational, and devoted, whereas a customer is logical, rational, and looking out for themselves. We want our customers to become our fans and make decisions because it speaks to something in their heart. That's the difference between customers and fans. Now, with that established, I'd like to take you on a little countdown of 5 secrets of rockstar brands. What you can learn from the bands you love and the songs you love and apply directly to your business. And we begin with number 5, a very simple but very important concept: consistency. In business, we constantly think we have to reinvent ourselves. And while we do need to grow to meet the goals of the next quarter or the next fiscal, we also have to remember, as we grow, that our customers, our fans, come to us for something really special. We satisfy something for them in their heart. We speak to them, and we need to do that over and over and over again, the way this band did, the legendary AC/DC. There they are in 1975, performing Highway to Hell with Bon Scott. Now, sadly, Bon Scott, their first lead singer, drank himself to death. But that was not the end of AC/DC. Enter lead singer number 2, the legendary Brian Johnson. Now, Brian sang on some of their biggest hits, but a few years ago, his hearing started to go, and because of his hearing problems, he had to leave the band. But that was not the end of AC/DC. Lead singer number 3 is Axl Rose. Now, Axl only toured with the band for a little while, and now, as of last week, they're back with a brand new album called Power Up, and Brian Johnson is back as the lead singer of the band. They've gone through 3 different lead singers and come back to lead singer number 2, and yet they're still around. They've been around since the mid-70s, making the same song over and over again with absolute consistency. And you can go through the AC/DC song catalog. There are no songs about how much it hurts when a relationship ends. It's just songs about rock and roll, about beautiful women, about fast cars, about cold drinks and loud parties. That's what AC/DC is all about. That consistency, no matter who's singing, no matter what era it is, no matter whether you're listening on an album or an 8-track or a cassette or an MP3 or a stream. It's that same consistency over and over again. Even that logo, that iconic logo, you could put the CHPA logo in that font and it would suddenly scream rock and roll. That is what AC/DC is all about, absolute consistency. And that's the reason why this vehicle, the Jeep Wrangler, retains its resale value better than any other North American vehicle. It is incredibly consistent. You can't tell, looking at that vehicle, what year it is. In fact, it looks remarkably similar to the very first Jeeps that came off the assembly line in World War II. And it has that very same DNA of go anywhere, challenge any terrain. We don't need roads. That's what the Wrangler's all about. It's consistency that makes that vehicle so special. It's consistency that makes AC/DC so special. And that's our first point today. Rockstar brands are consistently consistent. Know what your customers love about you, and as you change and grow, always deliver on that one thing that they love about you. Our next point, don't be afraid to be different. So many brands are afraid of complaints. They're afraid of alienating people. But what I've seen in rock and roll is that the most successful bands are the ones that stand out and aren't afraid of alienating a few people along the way. A great example of a band that understood that being different was the most important factor, this band right here. This is Wicked Lester. You probably wouldn't recognize them. You probably haven't heard of them. And they almost broke up in the early 70s, but they decided to give it one more shot. They changed their name. They changed their look. They started breathing fire and spitting blood. And within 2 years, they were on their first world tour as Kiss. Now, Kiss didn't go from obscurity to world fame by getting better at their instruments. They went from obscurity to world fame because they stood out. They forced people to pay attention. You either loved or hated Kiss, but there were very few people in that, gray middle ground. Kiss forced you to pay attention. Only after you force people to pay attention do you even have the opportunity to demonstrate whether you're better or not. Another artist that really took being unique very seriously, the incomparable Bob Marley. Bob Marley sang reggae music about growing up in Jamaica, yet he became one of the biggest selling stars of his generation because he was so unique and so different. There was nobody out there singing about Rastafarianism and island sunshine and all the things that made Bob Marley who Bob Marley is. He never compromised, was always himself, and always stood out in the crowd. A friend of mine named Roy Williams wrote a great book called The Wizard of Ads, and in it he wrote this phrase: "The risk of insult is the price of clarity." And that is so important to digest. The risk of insult, the risk of angering a few people, of alienating a few people, is the price you pay for clarity for your brand. If I want you to know who I am and what I'm about, I have to accept that some people will say, "That's not for me, thank you very much." And I think we need to do a better job in business of recognizing that and being okay with it. If some people don't like you for reasons that are very real and accurate, that's a sign that you're doing things right. Rockstar brands are not afraid to stand out, be different, and get noticed. Our next point, and it's very important to remember in times like these, is that we need to embrace adversity. And we live in times of tremendous adversity right now. There are very few industries around us who are successful, who are growing in this environment. It's a real tough time. And rock and roll is just filled with incredible stories of comebacks. One of the great things about music is the comeback story. One of our most recent comeback stories that I think really is worth analyzing is the comeback of this young guy, Justin Bieber. Remember that Justin Bieber, that punk kid? Let's take a quick little look at the career, the rise and fall of young Justin Bieber.
How you doing?
Our next guest has a mind-boggling 80 million views on YouTube, and he's only 15 years old.
Justin Bieber is one of the biggest pop stars on the planet.
And I'd like you to welcome my brother to the stage. He goes by the name of Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber.
I love you so much.
I think about him 99% of my life.
He's so beautiful. That was the most amazing moment of my whole life.
Speeding down the 101 freeway, pop star Justin Bieber was stopped by police.
The Boyfriend singer had just returned home from an overseas concert tour when he began racing his Ferrari through the streets.
Bieber could face battery charges after a physical altercation with a photographer.
He was accused of...
Justin Bieber said that he hoped Anne Frank would have been a believer. That's right, I didn't make that up. I couldn't have made that up.
Bieber is facing multiple charges after a wild night in Miami Beach.
DUI, alcohol or drugs, resisting without violence, driving with an expired driver's license.
Throwing eggs at this mansion, causing $20,000 in damage.
Were they Fabergé eggs? What did you throw?
Done some things that might not have been the greatest.
Really? Nothing comes to mind. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is not the end of Justin Bieber.
As long as you love me.
It's a pretty amazing story when you think about it, how fast Justin Bieber rose to fame and how quickly he fell. And there was a point not long ago where it looked like his career was over. But now we know Justin Bieber as a completely different musician. He's had so many hits recently, like Love Yourself, one of the biggest hits he's had in years. Or a collaboration with DJ Khaled, I'm the One. Justin's recorded huge hit songs like Let Me Love You. He recorded What Do You Mean, another #1 hit. And of course, there's one of the biggest songs of the past decade, one we couldn't escape for a while, Despacito. So how did Justin Bieber go from someone who was on the verge of jail time to one of the biggest stars in pop music? Well, a few things happened very strategically that we can learn from. Justin and his management team, led by a man named Scooter Braun, did some very smart things. First, they made Justin invisible. For about 6 months, there was no Justin Bieber gossip. There was no Justin Bieber on TMZ. He regrouped with his team. He went away off the radar and let us sort of cleanse our palate to all the negativity around his brand. And then, when he reemerged, he did the Comedy Central roast of Justin Bieber, and he was thoroughly roasted. But he held himself accountable. He stood up at the end of that, he took all the abuse, and then he promised to be a better human being. Justin Bieber, in that moment, grew up. And for a lot of people, that was the moment where we realized this is an adult, not a kid anymore. And then he leaned on his friends. All those songs you heard, almost all of them involved collaborators. Justin Bieber didn't try to come back on his own. He collaborated with Major Lazer and DJ Snake, and he collaborated with DJ Khaled. He leaned on the shoulders of others to help prop himself up. And finally, once he was reestablished, he was too good to hate. Every song he released was so good. A 4-step process: regroup, become invisible, let people forget about the bad stuff. Then when you reemerge, be accountable. Hold yourself up to higher standards. Number 3, lean on those around you. And number 4, always be too good to hate. That's the comeback strategy of Justin Bieber. And it's an important lesson that rock stars never surrender. They always believe their comeback is around the corner, and they embrace the opportunity and the adversity that comes with that. Our next point goes right along with that. Not only do we have to embrace adversity, we have to embrace diversity in order to overcome adversity. And this story is one of my favorite ones that sort of sums up both. It's a story of Run DMC, a hip-hop group from New York, and Aerosmith, who at the time were a washed-up rock band from Boston. It's the mid-1980s. Aerosmith is recovering from rehab. They're not in good shape, and nobody expects them to ever have another hit again. Run DMC is part of an underground rap movement, and outside of America's big cities, you don't really hear rap music. Kids aren't listening to rap music. Run DMC used to use the drum beat of Aerosmith's Walk This Way to freestyle their lyrics over. And their producer, Rick Rubin, said, you know what you guys need to do? You need to get in a room with Aerosmith and do a version together of the song Walk This Way. Funny enough, Run DMC didn't want to do it. They didn't want to lose their hip-hop credibility by working with a washed-up rock band. And Aerosmith didn't want to do it. They didn't want to lose their rock and roll credibility by working with an underground hip-hop act. But the result was a massive hit song. And Daryl McDaniel of Run DMC sums up what magic happened in the moment when those two collaborated.
Now, when I go to high schools and middle schools and I speak to the kids, I always tell the kids this: always be open to try something new, because it might not just only change your life, it could change the world. People tell me when Steven Tyler took that mic stand and knocked down that wall in the Walk This Way video, that didn't just happen in the video, that happened in real life.
In that moment, when Steven Tyler smashed his mic stand through the wall, literally cultural walls broke down. In that moment, an underground movement called rap became world famous. People all over America, all around the world, were paying attention all of a sudden to hip hop and rap music. Meanwhile, Aerosmith, a washed up rock band, used that song to catapult themselves into the most prolific and profitable phase of their career ever. It's such a great story. And it goes so well with the kind of racially tense times we live in. We need to remember that if we embrace and learn from what makes us different, those differences are like math. They add up, and we become better and bigger from it. Same way Run DMC and Aerosmith both did. And finally, my number one point on the countdown is that we always have to turn it up to 11, a famous phrase from an 80s movie. The idea of turning it up to 11 means going above and beyond for your customers and fans. The way James Brown did. Look at James Brown dancing on stage. James played famous for giving everything to his fans, playing long shows, playing night after night after night, relentlessly touring. In fact, James Brown died in late 2006, about a month after playing his final show in front of 80,000 fans in Ireland. James Brown was famous for being the hardest working man in showbiz. In every situation, he gave everything he had to give to his fans. I love that story. I love the idea of going above and beyond whenever you can, because you have kind of that one chance to really do it in a way that makes people become a fan for life. Taylor Swift is a master of this. Taylor scours the internet looking for her fans. A few years ago, she found a group of Taylor Swift fans who were adoptive families. They fostered children who had nowhere to live. And she reached out to them and said, "Can I play a concert just for you guys?" And she did, and she made thousands of fans for life. And last year, I was bringing my 16-year-old niece backstage to meet Taylor Swift. And Taylor's manager sent me an email saying, "Can you give us a photo ID for everybody coming backstage?" So I sent my niece's photo ID and mine. And at the show, I said to her manager, "It's kind of crazy security you guys have with the photo IDs and things." And he said, "That's not security. Taylor studies those so that when you walk in the room and she's there, she greets you like she's known you forever." And you can see in this picture, she gave my niece, Reese Taylor, a big hug, called her by her name, and made a fan for life. And these guys invented the phrase, "Turn it up to 11." The band's Spinal Tap.
This is a top to, what we use on stage, but it's very, very special because if you can see, the numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11, 11,
and most of
11,
the
and then
amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? It's not 10. You see, most blokes, be playing at 10. You're on 10 here, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. You're on 10 on your guitar. Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly. What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
These go to 11. I love that phrase. And that's my last point. Give everything to your fans. Every opportunity for interaction is an opportunity to over-deliver and overperform. I thank you so much for this opportunity to be here with you today. And I look forward, Anita, to answering your questions and to getting to have a conversation virtually with so many people here and talk about branding and marketing lessons through the lens of rock and roll.
Thank you, Steve, for a very insightful, relevant, and music-filled presentation with some great ideas and lessons to apply to our industry. For those of you who'd like to continue the conversation one-on-one with Steve, he'll be available in a topic room during our cocktails and conversations in the lounge beginning at 6.
Now, before we close the program tonight, we wanted to take a moment to give a preview of next year's gala, which will be taking place on June 2nd, 2021. Now, we've shifted the time frame of our annual gala to a summer event, and we'll be once again hosting our U.S. OTC Marketing Awards during the gala. So save the date and mark your calendars. Submissions for the awards will be open early next year, so start thinking about your marketing campaigns and initiatives that you would want to have recognized. And a special thank you to our esteemed 2021 judging panel, many of whom are in attendance tonight. A wonderful collection of experts in marketing, advertising, academia, and retail. We are looking forward to sharing our industry's award submissions with you next year.
And thank you all for making this virtual gala a success and a close second to being together at the Plaza in New York City. We're now almost ready to open the networking hour. A little housekeeping note. Please, in a moment, navigate to the lounge part of the platform and select a table topic to participate in. But before we go, I'd like to ask CHPA President and CEO and Foundation Board member Scott Melville to lead us in a toast.
Well, good evening, and thanks to each of you for your support of CHPA's foundation tonight and throughout the year. What a fabulous virtual evening it has been. As we now look forward to a healthier and safer new year, one where we can all be together again, I hope you share our optimism and will take time to reflect and celebrate the important role we all play in making healthcare safer, more accessible, and more affordable for all Americans. So please join me, raise a glass. May your troubles be less and your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through your door. Cheers.
Cheers.
Have a wonderful evening.
Have a great night.
Thank you all, and good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.